Welcome back on the channel, guys. This here is the latest version of the camera assistant, which is a good lock module, but it can also run as a standalone settings inside your stock camera. And what is the hype here, guys? What is the news? The update 1.1022 added the adaptive pixel, the so-called AP. I covered this as part of my video yesterday. The first Samsung update for June camera and also gallery changelog was released on the Korean forum. So there is this new thing, guys, called the adaptive pixel. What is this thing here? It produces noise in low light shots by combining multiple low resolution frames into the final high resolution picture. So what I did yesterday, guys, I did several shots, night shots, using the standard camera, of course, going here with the 12 megapixel photo, then 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel, guys, without the adaptive pixel. Then I install the latest camera assistant. I redid the shots, guys, and then this morning I took some other several shots in the broad daylight, 200 megapixel photos, to just see if this makes any difference whatsoever. So buckle up, guys. If you like videos like this, don't forget to like the video, and let's start. I have shot some night samples and also some day samples, and of course we're gonna start first with the night samples, where I have 12 megapixel, 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel, guys. The first thing I'm gonna start is with the 12 megapixel, no AP and AP. I'm also using the Faststone image viewer. It's free one. If you want to download it, guys, just go and do so. You can then select the pictures and press P on your keyboard, and then boom, we have this comparison. Now on the right hand side we have a 12 megapixel photo that did not use the AP, no adaptive pixel here. 0.2 seconds, f1.7, ISO 2000. We have the same parameters, guys, on the left hand side, where we have the very same picture but with the adaptive pixel. Now on first glance they just look very similar, right? I'm gonna do some zooming in to try, of course, to pixel peep, and on first glance I'm just thinking perhaps one of the differences that I can spot is here in the green areas, guys. So just take a look. The green areas here, in this case that's a 3D, seems to have a bit more of the details. All right, it's not perfect, of course, it's a night photo coming from a phone, but with the adaptive pixel we can for sure see a little bit of better details. Here the whole image is muffled and garbled. And if we are to look at the roof, for example, the roof is also very nice for comparison. Why? Because here we can just see the quality of the tiles, and I would also say that the quality of the tiles looks just a slightly tiny bit sharper than what we have on the right hand side without the adaptive pixel. Also, what we can do is a check. We can just go see here these very far edges of the picture. Okay, if I am to zoom on them, guys, and if I'm to give you my honest opinion, I don't really find too many differences here in this part, but still I have the feeling that the antennas, right, they're just a tiny bit sharper than what you have on the right hand side. But having in mind, I was just taking these pictures with hand, right? So errors, of course, are there when you take it by hand. So no big difference whatsoever on the 12 megapixel. Now, guys, let's proceed to the 50 megapixel AP and no AP. We're gonna have the very same scenario. On the right hand side we get a 50 megapixel, no adaptive pixels picture. You can just see the speed is 0.25 seconds. The same on the left hand side here, the picture is with adaptive pixel, guys, f1.7 on both scenarios and ISO 2500. Now I can just try again to pixel peep here. What I see is very weird. The whole quality of the green areas and the green elements is I think worse than what we've seen on the 12 megapixel, though still one can see slightly so of better details compared to what we see on the non-adaptive picture. Now we can also explore here the tiles on the roof, where I think the situation is kind of almost the similar, right? And they are very much the same. Now, of course, we have some passing cars. It's no ideal scenario, right? Like, some things are changing. Again, I shot them by hand, but overall the feeling that we get on the 50 megapixel is they're not so different, AP and non-AP. Though you can just see, by the way, this is interesting, there seems to be like this layer of blurriness, right? Compared to the one that we have on the right without the AP. I'm not sure if the cause of this is because of some processing algorithms or because they're just stacking some using multi-frames like they said. but this here is a bit different, not necessarily better, right? I think the loss of the detail is kind of the same everywhere when I start to zoom in, right? But maybe the one on the left hand side will be a bit more pleasing for the eye. Well, you can also now go and check this area here. All right, this is, I think, far worse to what we've seen on the 12 megapixel. And in terms of sky, I don't think that there are any major difference whatsoever. But now, guys, let's just go and let's do the 200 megapixel, because this is apparently the largest resolution. So maybe here the AP will just try to be a bit more pronounced. And of course, the first thing we're gonna do is just go in this green area here. All right, f1.7 still the same. The speed is 0.25 seconds, guys. ISO 2500. Those are very close. From what I see on the screen, it seems no visible differences whatsoever. All right, if we are to see the tiles, all right, I think it's just still the same. And there's some very weird artifacts, guys. You can just see this area here. Okay, I'm just trying to position it like this. So I'm not sure if this is because of the AP or just because, again, I'm holding it in hand, but the pattern here is different. Here, all these details seems to somehow be somehow lost, because you can just see here like every individual tile, right? And here it's just like a straight line, right? As to here, still some of this detail is preserved. But again, I'm not sure if this is because of the AP or just because of any other factor, but I'm just sharing with you what I see on the screen. No visible differences here, guys. And if we are to check what we have here, it's again almost, I would say, it is similar. Now let's check the day photos, guys. Day photos are always very interesting. And remember, Samsung themselves said that the AP is really more pronounced when you're using it in low light. But I just wanted to see if it will make any difference in daylight. Now the AP version this time is on the right, guys, and you can always see that the AP adaptive pixel photos, they are just a tiny bit bigger. 49.7 here versus 48.5. We have 1/1070 here, 1/1129, similar speed, f1.7 and ISO only 10 because it was in the broad daylight, guys. You can also see the histogram is very similar. And if I am now to pixel peep, all right, let's just try to see for some differences, but I don't think there will be any. I'm just trying to zoom on the grass as much as I can, and you can just see this. Those are some huge photos, 200 megapixel. Maybe start zooming in on the screen. So here, this is the no AP version versus the AP version, guys. I think it's absolutely one and the same, and this is also expected behavior, right? Seems that AP is not doing too much when you're using it during the daylight. But let's see, I have one more shot. So again, here the AP version is on the right, 46 megabytes. The no AP, no adaptive pixel version only for 45.3, so just 700 kilobytes more. Again, we have similar shutter speed, aperture all the same, ISO all the same, and here we can do a bit more of a pixel peeping. Now the AP version is on the right, and if we are to zoom on the screen, guys, I don't see any big differences whatsoever. Exposure, all the colors, everything seems to be almost like if I'm watching one and the same picture, but it's not, because you see the crane was moving when I was shooting those pictures, guys. So definitely AP is doing something at night, and I'm not 100% able to conclude how big and dramatic this is, right? So apparently they're saying that they're using multi-frames to lower the noise, but that's not something I can 100% confirm based on the shots that I see. I will of course keep testing it. Maybe it should be really in pitch black, but it is what it is, guys. And yeah, I just share with you what I see with my own eyes. If you like videos like this, guys, don't forget to support the channel, guys, and stay safe until we meet in one of the next videos. With that said, VST over and bye.